Life Sciences Grade 11. We are meeting on lesson 1, term 4. I welcome you to Metric Hub. I'm quite sure that we are still connected and following. We have got a nice presentation today that we are going to discuss about human impact on the environment. So, basically, I'm quite sure, and we are very conscious about the effect of human population growth, how people's activities, how human activities have impacted on the environment. So basically, we depend on the environment for survival. And also, however, our activities, they do cause serious problems in natural environment. The natural environment, we are talking about the ecosystem in its undisturbed nature. To say if the natural environment has not been infiltrated by mankind, it might have not been the same as it is right now. So because of the increase in human activities, because of the need of people to survive, they have negatively came up with activities that have also deprived the natural ecosystem its stability. So now our rapid increasing our population are increasing rapidly, and also technological advancement, it actually outbalancing the natural ecosystem or the natural environment. So human needs are becoming greater, and the natural resources available to sustain people and the resources available to sustain people, and we produce more waste than the ecosystem can be able to manage and can be able to sustain. So as a result of population pressure, we are saying waste are produced. This is a natural social effect that we can be able to understand that it in any given community where we have got people, waste are produced. There is dumping, there is unintentional spillages, there is all forms of disposal that we can talk about, which some of them are unhygienic and are not also recommendable in terms of sustainability of our natural environment. So our environmental equilibrium is basically disturbed because of human impact. So we want to discuss about the atmosphere and climate change, which is caused because of human activities. So the climate refers to the average weather conditions, which we are talking about temperature, rainfall, air pressure, cloud cover, humidity, and to mention but a few of a large area over a long period of time. So the large area that we are talking about, we are looking about, like we can talk about the climate of a given country, a climate of a given place, which the place can be a country, because we are saying the weather conditions, which is the daily state of the weather, is actually summarized as to say we calculate the average factors, the average representation of those weather conditions, which we can say, for example, our temperatures can be recorded from January to December, and then those totals can be divided by 12, and we can get our average temperature to say roughly our temperatures averagely, maybe they are plus or minus 19 degrees Celsius in South Africa, and also rainfall totals varying from or calculated over the whole period of January to December. We add all those rainfall totals, and then we divide them by 12, and then we got the average rainfall totals. So when we look at that, that can be defined as climate when all those weather conditions or weather factors are analyzed and averagely assessed over a period of a time, especially a year. We are coming to understand what is climate. So climate change, it actually refers to ongoing or continuous trend of changes in the Earth's general weather conditions as a result of average rise in temperatures, of the Earth's crust, often referred to as global warming. So global warming, if you can see again, global warming we are looking at, and we need to understand that that is general increase in temperatures generally increasing over a period, I mean, over a long piece of, over a large piece of I mean, over a large geographical area, which is actually caused by various factors, which we say that they relate to human, they are factors to do with human activities. So this rise in average global temperature is due primarily to increased concentration of what we call greenhouse gases. The greenhouse gases, these are GHGs in the atmosphere that are emitted because of human activities. We have got various activities that are there. We can talk about mining, we can talk about car exhaust fumes, we can talk about industrial emissions, all these, even also uh, many other related activities that result in release of carbon gases. So we call those greenhouse gases, which are highly concentrating in the atmosphere, therefore causing what you call global warming. So the gases intensify a natural phenomenon called greenhouse effect. They actually worsen, what we call greenhouse effect by forming an insulating layer in the atmosphere that reduces the amount of sun's heat that radiates back into space, and therefore has the effect of making the earth warmer. So when the earth is heated by incoming terrestrial solar radiation, the earth is actually having the possibility of saying, this is our earth, and then the incoming solar radiation, it hits on the earth, and then it has to bounce back into the atmosphere. When the incoming solar radiation hits the earth, it has to bounce back into the atmosphere. So when it goes back into the atmosphere class, it has to have the capacity to rise back up into the high levels of the atmosphere such that the earth cannot warm. But what happens is that we have got a blanket of gases that are accumulating, forming a sheet that insulates the earth. So we can say, for example, this is an accumulation of gases that are found up in the atmosphere, such that when temperature, when heat is radiated back, is reflected back into the space, it cannot go beyond this blue line that I've drawn here. So what happens is that we have got an extensive temperature increase that is caused because of the inability of the earth to release the heat that it is radiating back into the space. So we have got the earth, the environment or the atmosphere becoming, the earth becoming very warmer than its surrounding. So we have got this concentration of temperatures. We have got high temperatures here, would have high temperatures here. So the high temperatures are therefore on the earth, resulting in uh what you call global warming. So we have got some basic terminologies that I want us to understand. Key terminology, greenhouse gases, which we say that they trap heat in the atmosphere, and two main greenhouse gases that we have, carbon dioxide and methane, which is produced from decomposing waste. We are saying methane is produced from decomposing material. It can be plants or it can be dead animals, whatever that can decompose. Mostly, we can look at it and exemplify it with the dumping sites where waste is disposed. Those are the major areas where we have got methane produced, and also even in animal pens, where we have got cow dung or animal waste. They are also a good example of methane production. We have got emissions. Emissions, we talk about it, it refers to released gases which are usually harmful to the environment. The emissions, we are talking about gases that are released, which are usually harmful to the environment, which can be from the industrial areas. There can be also from car exhaust, or locomotives. And then we have got the greenhouse effect, which is the warming of the surface of the earth by greenhouse gases trapping heat in the atmosphere. That is what I just illustrated above there, that the greenhouse gases traps heat in the atmosphere because they are insulating, or they are covering and disturbing and avoiding the further rise of the heat into the space. And then natural greenhouse effect, we look at greenhouse gases are in the balance. They regulate the Earth's temperature and enable life on Earth when there is a natural greenhouse effect. When it is natural, there is a general tendency of balancing each other that can also be stricken when there is a natural greenhouse effect, because the absorption and the release of the gases will be equally sustaining each other. Hence, we have got a balance that regulates temperature and also sustaining Earth to produce or to have life of its various organisms. And then the enhanced greenhouse effect, it is now excessive greenhouse gases emitted. They trap too much heat in the atmosphere, which we have already mentioned there. And then global warming is the general rise in Earth average temperatures as a result of enhanced greenhouse effect. Global warming temperatures generally increase. That increase in the temperatures because of the increase in accumulation of greenhouse gases, it results in what you call global warming. And then a carbon sinking, it's actually a natural system which can be either soil, it can be water, it can be plants, which absorbs and stores carbon dioxide. When carbon dioxide is released, or carbon dioxide is stored either in the soil, it can also be in water or in plants. I am sure that you know that plants do act as carbon sink, how by converting or by using carbon dioxide during photosynthesis to actually produce their own food. So that is a carbon sink, because it is a disposal area, it's a disposal zone, it's a disposal habitat for carbon dioxide, where carbon dioxide is consumed rather than for it to be in the atmosphere. So, yeah. So carbon footprint is the total amount of carbon dioxide released in the air because of an individual or a group of energy uh, needs. It can be by an industry, it can be by an individual, which we are saying the total amount of carbon dioxide that is released in the atmosphere. Usually, it is calculated over a period of a year. Therefore, we call that carbon footprint. It's a footprint, considering that from January to December, there has been a variation in the amount of carbon that has been produced. So that amount of carbon that has been produced, we define and relate to it as what? Carbon footprint, as it is calculated as a total for a period of a year. And then ozone depletion, it's the reduction in the concentration of the ozone in the ozone layer in the stratosphere, which is caused also because of the pollution. Usually, we can refer to it or caused by air pollution in that effect or in that regard. So, composition of the atmosphere, the Earth is a critical mixture of gases which actually sustain life. Like we have got 78% nitrogen and 21% oxygen, 1% all remaining gases, mainly carbon dioxide and other small trace amounts. So it's just a percentage distribution or a percentage composition of the atmospheric gases. Sources of carbon dioxide and sources of carbon dioxide, and then I'm sure that you know this is what This is methane. Sources of carbon dioxide and methane, which we are saying these are also what greenhouse gases. We say that the carbon dioxide are also greenhouse gases. So carbon dioxide emission composition of the atmosphere emissions are produced by one, cellular respiration. When carbon dioxide is exhaled, when animals respire, they produce what? They produce carbon dioxide. I'm sure I remember the summation of respiration and then decomposition of dead plants and animals. When decompose when we, I, this we also talked about that to say that when plants and animals they live, when plants they do have plants they do consume carbon dioxide during their life or when they are living, and then plants also they contain carbon dioxide in terms of their oxygen production, I mean, during of their gaseous production. So what we need to understand is that their decomposition also produces carbon dioxide. The burning of fossil fuels as energy, as a source of energy for electricity or transport. I've already mentioned that in terms of sources of fuel, when fossil fuels are burned, carbon gases or carbon dioxide is produced, which is also in transport when fuel is burned. We also have veiled fires, domestic wood burning, veiled fires. We have heard of runoff fires, which are also found during summer times, which are quite very serious in terms of destruction of forest. Forests, when they are destroyed, they are also worsening the concentration of carbon dioxide because the carbon sink is no longer available or it is reduced because forests are destroyed. I am sure that we know that chemical reactions in industries, also in the production of fertilizers, for example, they are a quite typical example of source of carbon dioxide. So in South Africa, carbon dioxide emissions are primarily caused because the country is heavily reliant or heavily depending on coal as a source of energy, which also we are saying fossil fuel combustion in the transport sector and also extensive deforestation. South Africa has got problems also of vast pieces of land that are just cleared. The vegetation has been cut off. There is extensive deforestation, which again is causing extensive accumulation of the carbon dioxide. So the consequences include disproportionately or extensively warm climate, the rising sea levels, more extreme weather events, which are, for example, we talk about floods, droughts, which at the end of the day will also cause decreased crop yields and impact on human health. At the same time, food security, the access to food by people is reduced, and water resources are also reduced also. I'm quite sure that the water cycle for us to have water, for us to have rainfall, we should have water reservoirs collecting and storing water. So if these cannot be able to store the water, we would have problems that can also impact on our lives as people. At the same time, we are saying these are affecting our food security. So, causes of carbon dioxide emissions in South Africa, this is just a summary of the point that I've just explained above there. The reliance on sources of energy of coal, uh, transport sector, we talk about the industrial and agricultural practices, which also include waste treatment, sugarcane and crop residues burning, releasing carbon dioxide, deforestation, and land use changes. Land use changes result in clearing of land masses, which are specifically for human settlement, croplands, pastures also reduce the absorption of carbon dioxide by trees and can release stored carbon when wood burns or decay. This has been mentioned again in the initial discussions or initial introduction of the subject. And then the consequences or the effect of carbon dioxide in South Africa, we have got the rising temperatures and extreme weather conditions, which actually results in mean annual temperatures in South Africa that have risen beyond normal levels, resulting in uh, global average ranges to be very high with more frequent heat waves. I'm sure during our summer times we have heard of heat waves, which are extreme periods of strong high temperatures that would cause or result in runoff fires, and then longer dry spells. Dry spells, we are talking about sporadic rains or very scarce uh, light showers that can also be experienced in some places. So rainfall patterns also change, leading to more severe storms and also flooding, which we have already mentioned there. The issue of food security and changing weather patterns are negatively impacting on our crops and animals. That also results in rising food prices and also food insecurity as in a country as a whole. Climate change can lead to increased evaporation. This also results in what we call desertification, which can also, which is also a serious phenomenon, which is caused because of what? Because of the problems that we are referring to right now. Desertification is one of the problems again that we can also maybe need to worry and need to consider when we look at uh, problems to do or consequences, effects of carbon dioxide emissions, and then soil erosion because of extensive uh, pieces of land being exposed and being bare without vegetation cover. Hence, these problems would be what will be seen and will be experienced. And then the impacts on human health. These impacts on human health, we have already also mentioned them, that we have got high temperatures and frequent heat waves that contribute to some related illnesses and waterborne diseases, as well as vector-borne diseases become more prevalent because of these carbon dioxide concentrations. The socio-economic impact, job losses, increased poverty. Job losses are as a result of the dwindling economic activities, the shrinking of the economy as a result of the decrease in the agricultural inputs in industries. Also affecting productivity decreasing, hence employment opportunities would also go dry. So climate migration, which we can also see changing or changing of climate change, and then environmental changes that can also be the ultimate effect. Damaging of infrastructure, which is caused because of flooding, destroying homes and property, leading to increased damage and cost of rebuilding those houses. I think we have got a e.g., KZN floods that have heated floods. We have got floods that have affected KZN severally, which has left people homeless, and even up to now, some of our infrastructures are not yet uh, they are not yet fixed. So now we are saying those are infrastructural problems and economic challenges that are also resulting from issues to do with air pollution, and then cost of rebuilding is actually beyond, and then we can have people and livelihoods of citizens negatively affected. And then methane emissions is one other thing is that methane is the second largest contributor to enhancing greenhouse effect. Methane is one of the major largest contributor, And as the planet warms up, so its contribution increases even faster. Human activities are responsible for over 60% methane in the atmosphere, which is caused by natural anaerobic decomposition of organic material, such as wetlands, melting ice in the polar regions, and permafrost releasing trapped methane bubbles. They are a source of what? Of methane. And then seawater decomposing marine organisms that are living in water, they also die, and then they also cause problems that you can also result in the release of what? Of methane. So ocean temperatures, as they rise, the rate of decomposition and the release of the methane increases also. uh, Intensive agriculture, decomposing dung and compost for fertilizing, gas being released by ruminants are also a source of methane. We say that animal or of animal husbandry, it increase the production of, farming in terms of animal, especially these ruminants, the animals that choose the cud, they can also seriously contribute to effects of what? Of this problem that we are talking about. So ozone molecule consists of three oxygen atoms bounded together and is either helpful or harmful depending on where it occurs in the atmosphere. So the ozone produced by vehicle emissions that accumulates close to the earth is a pollutant and a harmful greenhouse gas. So the ozone emission should be eliminated, it should be minimized or must be eliminated. Ozone can, however, be helpful, especially in upper atmosphere above the Earth's surface, where the ozone serves as a protection of life on Earth by absorbing up to 99% of the sun's ultraviolet radiation. And then the fluorochlorocarbons, which is CFCs, are also found in aerosprays and solvents, which also we can also talk about fridges and fumes uh, used for fast food packaging are also uh, other sources that we can talk about, the chlorofluorocarbons, which are also resulting in the ozone effect. So, Classy, I want to thank you for your time and keep on following. I appreciate your engagement. Just keep connected. With one click, we can change our lives. Metric Help is there for us. Let's keep connected. Subscribe, share, and like the videos so that we can keep on growing as a community, as intellects, as scholars. Have a beautiful stay. Thank you very much.